All right, welcome back to another episode of the How'd I Get Here podcast, the podcast for positivity, progression, and finding your own path. It's your co-host, Mr. Brown Broken Guapo, 10 toes down, big head up. We're here to take over, dropping things, making noise in the studio and in the world. What up?
What's going on?
See you on your Dr. Seuss wave today.
Listen, I'm trying. I'm inspired. Max B is home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I honestly don't actually care. But weird. It sounded like a good plug.
All right.
First lady.
Well, y'all know what day it is, but you don't know where we are. We're going to save that to the end so you know where we at. But you like our new spot, though? Got a little swirly chair, just wee.
Not bad, right?
My ADHD is like, oh, yes, love this.
And it's got the back support.
I know, you can't help but just
I'm forever a child.
Rubbing elbows is great.
I know. It's the whole thing.
But yeah, happy Tuesday, y'all. We back at it.
Yes, sir. Big fella.
We love that. It's your boy Spence. We here at the beautiful. Yeah, we ain't even gonna tell you yet. We ain't gonna tell you. It's a surprise location, but we have a great guest who's gonna explain a lot about where we are. Yes, Mr. Shyam, the CEO, president, originator of Fruitful Liqueur. If you haven't seen it, pay attention. That beautiful black bottle back there, all them different flavors. He's going to tell you a little bit more about it. But this is a COVID creation that has really come to fruition, and we here to proliferate it throughout the country.
Yes, sir.
And the crazy thing is, you've probably had it and didn't even know.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I've heard that a lot.
Right,
For sure.
Especially because, like, how often are we having drinks and we don't even really know what we're drinking?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've had people, I was telling you earlier, fly out of Chicago to Atlanta. They never notice my stuff while they were in Chicago, and then they go to Atlanta on vacation and they're seeing it behind the bars and they're shooting me texts and being like, dude.
It's right here. It's right in front of my face.
Yeah.
I know. Every time I'm at the bar now, I'm going to be like, where is it?
It's been in your face all along. I'm in we met with you.
I'm a child. I'm sorry.
I respect it. We had a couple drinks here before we started. So I got everybody a little loose.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so how you doing today, Shyam? What's going on? How you doing?
I'm great, man. I'm great. What's going on? Well, we've got a company in growth. We've got a phenomenal team. I'm super blessed. I think this year has been a lot of highs, a lot of lows, battles that I didn't think I'd be fighting this early in the growth of the company, but got through them, and we are in the weeds fully. I was up at 3:45 this morning. I'm here. It's 8 o'clock.
That's a regular Tuesday for you, though.
Yeah, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Friday. Yeah, just name the day. But I love it. So I'm just obsessed. So it wakes me up in the morning and I want to be here. So
we love
that's
that.
it.
When you enjoy what you do, it's not work as much, although I'm sure you're working hard.
It's fucking work, bro.
He said, don't let them lie to you.
It's work.
Like, you see these bags?
No, right. Like, this was not light before. This all just came in, so everybody knows. No, absolutely, you're right. I think it's a privilege to be able to work and provide value for yourself, your family, and others. And I think it's even better if you love it.
Right. And that's
because
that
work inherently, by definition, is pain, is tribulations, is triumph, is discipline, is order, is chaos. It's all of these things. And you need all of that. Obviously, that's the mechanic through which you can provide. And so loving that thing, despite all of that, I think is really fortunate. And
love that.
That's all I've wanted. So I'm happy to be.
Hey, love that.
Cool. So as we do, we're going to dive into the question of the day. And my question of the day is very near and dear to my heart because it's been recently happening to me. So, and as a business owner, like you might be this. You know what I'm saying? So take a deep breath. Like I don't want this.
Yeah.
I don't want this to like reflect badly on you. Like, damn, he's talking about me. But so the question of the day is: has there ever been a time in life? No, okay, let me redo it. Question of the day is: 1, how do we feel about being passive aggressive? And 2, have we ever had a boss who was passive aggressive, and how did that make you feel?
How do we feel about passive aggressive?
So I'll start with question 2.
Okay.
Or the second part. Yeah.
Plan B. It's cool.
The honest answer for me is no. I started working for myself. I started my first company when I was 24. I worked a bit
Subtle
prior
flex.
to that, but to be honest with you, I wasn't even in a place where delineating whether somebody was passive aggressive or just how they were. I wasn't even there. I'm showing up. I'm earning a paycheck. I'm unhappy. Like that was broad spectrum kind of where I was at when I was that young. I haven't really worked for anyone else since. So that'd be my answer to that part of the question. Passive aggressive in the workplace and as a human, I am not that. I'm like the polar opposite of that. Okay. Anybody who knows me, anybody who works with me, I mean, you got to be ready to hear exactly how I feel, exactly how I think, and I really make a point to celebrate the highs. The small things, the big things, whatever's positive, I reinforce that as much as possible with my team and make sure I thank them and let them know. That's on a day-to-day basis. I mean, it's just a habit. And I think when I'm upset or I don't like what's going on, I'm extremely clear about that. That's my style. I think.
When you said that, it was you said it very gentle. You know what I'm saying? Like it was very gentle yet direct. But I also feel like the people who know are just like,
they know.
It's like
he's
like a
upset.
scary
Like,
dad, like a
like,
disappointed dad.
Like,
that was like a parent
he's not
tone of
raising
just
his voice.
like-
I mean, well,
gotta raise my voice,
it's a fair way to kind of. I mean, by no means do I view myself as a parent or as direct family to anybody that works with me and for me, but I think I probably care a lot more than like culturally, the work culture, and as an individual, I care a lot about the triumphs of the people working with me, not only in the business, but privately, more so privately, frankly, because those triumphs need to be there in order to be motivated and feel good about what work is comprised of, which is both order and chaos. It's highs and lows. So I feel it's much better to be as clear as possible. People know where they stand, and when you communicate that way, it's a lot easier to also be maybe a bit more open to understanding people in their private lives as well, and helping and being a part of every employee's life, hopefully, and yeah.
It's funny because
that makes some sense.
Yeah, I got it.
It makes sense, and I'm just thinking about like your profession versus mine, where I'm surrounded by kids all day.
Okay.
And sometimes it's kids that are in the 4th grade, sometimes kids in the 8th grade.
Remind me again, in what role?
So I'm a behavior tech and a soccer coach.
That's right.
So I literally am surrounded by kids of all ages,
Sure.
from probably 7 to 18 at
Sure.
any moment, right? And there's times that I'm like, in listening to you, like sometimes I might have to be passive aggressive, just because like with a kid, yes, you should be direct, but I don't got the time, patience, energy for you right now. So I just got to like let this shit slide to just get past the moment. You know,
I think that makes I can empathize, or I can understand where you're coming from when you say that. I mean, I think
doesn't make it right.
being direct also is, in my view, it's completely different when you're dealing with grown people, right? The hope is that as grown people, and also, I'm Indian. I grew up in a house where, I don't know if it's maybe a cultural thing or people who came from other places, but we communicate like, if we're upset, we're telling you we're upset. And I think you guys, can echo some of that. It's like we're saying how we feel, the way we feel in that moment, with the promise of trying to get to a resolution and get somewhere. But in the moment, sometimes it's like, here's how I fucking feel, right? And you got to lay it out. So we deal with problems. I grew up in a way where it's like, we're going to deal with this now. And I think that is sort of an earned thing. It's, you got to be mature, because you got to be able to not get twisted in your head when you hear people emoting in different ways and whatnot. I don't get impacted by that. I listen. I hear what they're really saying.
Right.
And if the other party is that way as well, I think you can accomplish great things very quickly. I think with kids, good luck. Yeah, I don't know about that, man. Yeah. A rope might help. Just wrangle them a little bit, something like that.
I think the direct approach is definitely the way to go too, because I think what you were saying before, like in your household, that was promoting healthy communication, even if it was tough. And I think you can see the opposites of when people also struggle with communicating how they really feel, and they become passive aggressive because like they want to express how they feel, but they don't know how to. Or sometimes they feel like, well, they should already know, so I'm not going to say it. I feel like passive aggressiveness like has two sides of the coin, where it's like people either don't know how to and they become passive aggressive, or they do know how to, but maybe they're just being like a little bit more like pettier and be like, you should already know why I'm upset. And it's like, no, you still have to communicate directly, because someone may not know what they did to make you mad, and now you're walking around mad. And the person's like, well, I don't know why you're mad. And you're like, how do you know I'm not mad? Like, you should know. So I think if you're more direct, then it kind of cuts all of that extraness out, because like you said, you can get to the point, you can come up with the resolution, or even if the resolution is like, you're just kind of going your separate ways, at least you got to that point, instead of doing like a dance of now we're going back and forth of figuring out why this person's upset, then you become upset. So it's a whole thing. So I totally hate passive aggressive people.
Thank you.
I don't want to dismiss them, but I'm also just like, if you're going to be passive aggressive towards me, then you're going to do that by yourself.
Say it with your chest.
And just like whenever you're ready to say it with your chest, you can also let me know too when you're ready. But like the minute I pick up on that, I'm like, absolutely not. However, like being also a behavior tech and working with kids I've worked with kids all the way from like birth up to 7. And so I was always direct with them, because I learned very quickly that when you try to beat around the bush with them, you're not getting far at all. But also when you set that standard of like, I'm going to be direct with you, so you can also be direct with me, I think then you also, like you said before too, you're building that respective relationship.
100%. Yeah.
I can now openly have a conversation with you and express how I feel, and I know it's not going to come into a place where I'm going to be judged or not heard properly. Everyone's going to listen to what I have to say, and then we can talk about it together.
For sure.
Versus then the person feeling dismissed, and that might also be why some people end up passive aggressive, because they feel like I shouldn't say something because the person's just going to dismiss my feelings. But you can't know unless you just have a conversation, y'all. So if you passive aggressive out there, and yes, I'm looking at you.
Grow up.
Cut it out.
You know who you are.
It is about to be 2026.
Damn.
And if you go into 2026 passive aggressive, I'ma side-eyed you hard.
Because who are you scared of? Like, I think
truth.
I think being direct is a sign of respect. And I think being
100%.
passive aggressive, I take it as a sign of disrespect, because why can't you have a dialogue with me? Like, I'm going to tell you, and like the fact that you think that you can't tell me something as if I can't take constructive criticism, like.
But also makes me feel like, am I scary? Like,
See,
No,
like, am I scary? You don't want to come talk to me?
a lot of people are uncomfortable having uncomfortable conversations.
Sure.
And that's what it is. And here it sounds good, but they're not comfortable. And you guys know me. I'm the first one to come out and say whatever. And they're like, did that really just come out of his mouth? Like, did he think before? Yes, I thought before I spoke, and I thought about the next three things.
For sure.
But people are not comfortable having those hard conversations or what might seem as an argument or something of that nature. They try to avoid conflict, and that's where that pass. Oh, I could sneak this. I could get this off.
Sure.
And that's it. You know.
Well, there's three things I heard. So two of the two reasons you gave, if I'm repeating this correctly, for somebody being passive aggressive, there's three actually, but the first two were either they don't know any better, or they're doing it, I suppose, with some intent to abrade or to create some abrasion because they know. The third you said was because there's fear of how they're going to be received, so they take that route.
Yeah.
And that fear kind of informs probably both of the first two. The thing is, what you said, and the reality is, as I see it, is if I'm talking to you and if I'm communicating to you something that's either great, something to celebrate, something that's we need to work on, inherently there's trust there. Right. Because the assumption, I'm trusting you, right? And that's assigning, as I see it, that's elevating that individual. It's assigning value because I want to be received well. I think there's intent to what I'm saying. Ultimately, what should be constructive intent. And if I'm not talking to you that way, it means you can't do anything for me. Like there's no reason for that community. I'm not like looking for fights in the world. I don't think anybody here is, right? So
I don't avoid them though.
I want all the smoke.
I'm not looking for fights Monday through Friday is what I meant to say.
I think 50 Cent put it perfectly. He's like, people want smoke. People think I want smoke. I don't want no smoke. But if smoke comes to me,
right,
it's free smoke.
Right.
I'm saying, like, I don't mind.
Right.
But yeah, I don't avoid it. But I have no problem having an uncomfortable dialogue to get to some type of common ground, because that's all, like, it's just understanding.
You have to. It's a question. You know what I say to myself. Things, particularly around work. We were talking about in the workplace, right? As the owner, I imagine broadly I'm going to care about this more than probably anyone else, right? That's just what that kind of, by definition, should mean. The owner should care the most. And you want to inspire others to care as much as you do, or at least, right? And when you care that much, it's like walking around with something that either bothers you, number one, or two, frankly, knowing that somebody has triumphed on your team, or and keeping it to yourself, which I think is kind of the inverse of that. A lot of people do that. They don't. What my experience has been, anecdotally, what I've heard from others who work for others, it's like they don't get. Hey, thank you for today, by the way. I know it's a tough day. Like, just because I'm paying you doesn't mean that the individual they're not having a bad day walking in, and they're sucking it up and they're getting things done. And it's like, just that acknowledgement matters. And a lot of people don't get that either. Yeah. And so the way I feel is like, I'm walking around with that inside. Like, I know it. I'm a smart person. So if I was just keeping quiet about either side of that, it's like it's burning a hole in me because I care deeply about this thing. So it's like, for me, it's like, get it out. You care about somebody, you care about something.
You need to give a TED Talk to other business owners, because
literally.
Other business owners do.
I thought this was TED Talk. This is never mind.
I got shit to do.
I thought I saw the TED Talk sign.
I didn't know.
They just showed up with a mic and camera.
I got here 5 minutes ago.
He's like, I thought they left the TED Talk sign at home.
How the fuck these people get in here, bro? So you brought up your family and your upbringing, and if I'm not mistaken, you come from immigrant parents.
Absolutely.
Right? So I know I didn't start drinking until college. And me being a college athlete at that point, sports was priority. My dad was like, you shouldn't be drinking, focusing on this. And then my mom was like, well, alcoholism runs in our family, like yada, yada, yada. So they always frowned upon it.
Both of those things, same with me.
Okay, so that leads into my question. How was it when you looked at your family and said, hey, I'm starting this brand, this thing, right?
Sure.
How was it? Because sure enough, you're looking for your parents' approval in a way.
Sure.
You want to make them proud. You know, they've gone through a lot. So how was that, you going to them and saying like, hey, I'm going to take this leap of faith and do this thing that you guys probably aren't going to approve of?
Brutal.
That's not a doctor.
Yeah. No, that's, I mean, that's precisely what, it was not great. I mean, if I can take it back a little bit further, I made a decision when I was somewhere around 24. In all honesty, I lose track sometimes, right now. But somewhere around 24, I knew that broadly the sciences, which my education was centered around chemistry. I'm a terrible chemist, if I'm being totally forthright.
You got something to prove that says otherwise.
Well, there's people out there that are absolutely brilliant, and it's a different thing. I look at it this way, just touching on this briefly. It's like that education, you go to college, it sets a foundation conceptually, information-wise, sometimes practically in what you're doing in your courses. It's kind of a framework and a foundation to find it should be a way to find some of your proclivities, some of your strengths, right? So it's like as an example, many, let's say physicists or chemists or whatever, on the practical side, if you're looking at engineering a laser or doing something like they get that, but they don't get maybe the theoretical side of it as well. And so you kind of shake a lot of those things out about yourself when you're in school. At least that's how I looked at it. And I mean, I'm not meant to be in a lab. I'm not meant to be that's not me. I was always had an entrepreneurial mindset. I was an economics guy. I was a business guy. My father, as you stated earlier, my parents, who were immigrants here, my mother in particular, they wanted nothing more than the standard first generation Indian dream culturally, which is you will be a doctor or a lawyer. And the lawyer's like a distant number two. And, so it's like you're going into the sciences, you're going into medical. And, that just wasn't even remotely for me.
Cool. No, you hit such a soft spot just now because I tell my boss, and my coworkers, because they think I seclude myself. I'm a very social person.
Sure.
But when it comes to getting work done, I'm very easily distracted.
Sure.
So it's nothing personal against anyone. I will lock myself in a cube and just crank out work.
Right.
When it's time for lunch, when it's time to chit chat, bullshit, everybody, I'll come out, we'll talk, whatever. Then I go back in my cube and I crank out work. My boss, he doesn't understand that. So he's just no, I need you to hang out with everybody. I'm like, okay, I'm telling you, I'm easily distracted. So
right. My productivity can go down.
Your boss wants your productivity to go down.
That's what it sounds like.
That's what.
Can I come work?
So I'm getting paid to chill.
He's like, no, I need you to come out. We're in the back of a location where it's we're pretty close together.
Sure.
If we're making phone calls and things like that, I can hear your phone call, I can hear your meeting.
Sure.
So then I'll do it, but I'll throw like my headphones on. I'll put my AirPods on. I'm like, all right, let me just like crank some music. And be like, yo, why are you being so antisocial? Bro, what are we doing here? I'm so confused.
Sure.
So being a boss and understanding how people, their strengths and their weaknesses, how people thrive and like being in certain scenarios, that is extremely powerful. Especially coming from like everything that you said, you're very big on championing people, if that's a word.
100%.
So yeah, no, when you said that, I was like, oh man, you just
He like, can I come work?
you just hit the spot. Nah, facts. I'll leave tonight.
He will get this crisp resignation
I
letter
saw
at
a mattress
12:01.
or something you brought in here earlier. I thought it was part of the setup, but I guess not.
That was actually my resume.
Yeah. Biggest resume.
On cardstock.
No, I mean, I think, I think it goes back to culture again, and I think it's okay to have, in my opinion, it's okay to have a diversity of leadership across. I'm talking about in different organizations, and when I use that term, I mean stylistically. I don't mean in how someone looks or feels or how they're, I mean stylistically. I think there are some organizations that need, for example, if I'm a CPA or an accountant and I own that type of business, maybe the people showing up there just as a nature of or a byproduct of the personality type of the individual who goes, I can't wait to stare at spreadsheets for the next 40 years of my life, looking at numbers or whatever. Those people might be, much more internalized on. They may not need or want as much engagement in the workplace. I'm not saying that that's the case, but I think you could probably draw some patterns and some lines. And I think broadly as an individual, it's like when you are interviewing for a job, I think the onus fits on both sides, right? It's like you don't want to be a resume. You don't want to be somebody who's just figuring out if you can squeeze your resume through the shape of whatever the opening is. It's like, here's a triangle. My resume is a square. Like, how do I now turn this into a triangle and push it through?
That's honestly a fire analogy.
Mattress.
Thank you. And it's like, I get it because I get like, well, I get the desperation or the feeling of like, not only wanting validation by getting that interview, by getting the whatever, but it's also like, fucking, I need a job, right?
Yeah.
And so I can understand that, but I think the onus falls on both parties, the leadership, the operators of companies, businesses, and on those that are joining the workforce, they're in the workforce, they want to make a change, in understanding specifically, like broadening their parameters through which they understand, I guess, or measure the value of an opportunity for themselves. So it's like, if you work somewhere for 4 years and you found that you felt like when you're younger, let's say, and in your 20s and you come to realize like, man, I'm fucking alone every day or whatever, and I want to feel a little camaraderie. I wish my boss, like, I did this cool thing. I solved this little problem, and no one said anything to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that sucks. Or like, even maybe you went and said, hey, I solved this problem. And it's like, okay. Right?
As
like,
you should.
Like maybe, yeah, right. Well, that's what I paid you for, right? Like maybe that's not for you. And you figure that out. It's like, okay, well, now I think it's a twofold kind of responsibility that falls on the individual. It's like, if you're going to make a change, you got to figure out culturally, how do you suss out what aligns with what that problem was and finding that solution? And then also, how do you make yourself attractive to that culture? So it's not, and too many people are just, maybe it's some psych conditioning over the years. I have not looked at a single fucking resume of anybody that works in this place.
Damn it.
And I'm just being honest. They've sent them to me. I lied. I pretend like I looked at it. I know. I talked to him for 30 minutes. I spend some time with them outside of these walls. I make a point to do that. I get to know them. and I know, I can figure it out. So, I think, again, that leadership style and different people are different. And I'm not running a 500-person organization right now, but
Yeah.
right now,
Right.
Exactly.
It's 11/11. Let's manifest that.
yeah. No, I don't know if I ever want that.
Too much red tape.
Yeah, it's not for me. It's not for me. Lean, strong is better. But I think it's got to be some accountability. We got to hold leaders accountable. Leaders need to hold the people walking in the door accountable as well. And it's to me, it's like if you're trying to shape and mold some words on a page, and that's what you're trying to shove in front of me too many times, and you're not looking at me and engaging, crumpling this up and throwing it out. We're not, there's nothing there. You're not going to squeeze a triangle through a square with me. It's not going to happen.
Or just throw the papers across the room.
He's
like, thanks for no thanks.
No, I don't want to. Yeah,
He's like, we're not going back there.
I don't want to go back to that. But I think it's something to consider. It's got to be both sides looking at it a little more broadly. And I think a lot of people think the resume and that piece is and they're kind of screaming in a 2 minutes of interviewing or whatever. See me, right? It's like, it's not this. It's like you yourself are disconnected from your own fucking resume that you're handing somebody. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. You're reading all these acronyms. I'm good at this training, and it's a series of letters, and you're looking at, I've done 7 to 9 years of managing a team of 100. Like, nobody fucking, to me, it's disconnect with that, engage as an individual. If that's what you're about, and if that leader doesn't recognize that through your best efforts of doing that, that's probably not the right fit for you to begin with. Even if the resume fits, if probably not right. So I think it's tough. It's like there's a bit of luck. There's a bit of like being in the right place at the right time. Yeah. It's making a place the right place. It's making a time the right time. Right. It's also that.
It's creating your own luck, for lack of better terms.
There's people who have walked right up to me, very rarely or much more frequently now, but in the past, there have been people over the past 4 or 5 years since starting the company. There's people who have walked up to me and just said, "Listen, I love this about what you're doing, X, Y, Z. I heard from this other employee how you are in this way, and if there's anything, I'd love to come talk to you and just tell you about something." And many of those people work for me now. And all the people who didn't open their mouths, they're sitting somewhere
they're
else.
wishing.
I don't know. I hope they're well.
Right.
I genuinely do.
Exactly.
Right. So I think you got to make that time sometimes. And engage people.
I like that. So you said earlier you referenced certain failures or taking certain risks to get to where you are, and surely enough, you're gonna have to take a bunch more risks and probably learn from more failures along the way to get to where you want to be. Do you have a how'd I get here moment of like, oh shit, everything's hitting the fan, or how did I get here? This is messed up. And
it was March.
Let's not talk about that.
How did I get here with successes too?
Right.
Like, whoa, everything is blowing up in a good way.
This is surreal.
Right. Yeah. Like, sure enough, all this is maybe what you thought it would be or more, or you know what I mean? Like, just a how'd I get here moment.
I absolutely. So April of 2020, big month for everybody.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Spooky times.
I had a business partner at that time. I had some of the prototype products built, what is now Fruitful. Our intention was to launch the brand in April, May of that year. We were waiting for a permit to get approved I had a different property that we were at in East Hartford as well, much smaller. And we were a week away from getting a permit approved. And I knew that this was, well, now 4 years later, I can say it, you know, with my chest out a little bit more. It's like, back then I was confident it was a winner. Now I know.
Proof is in the
Right?
pudding.
But I felt that way at that time. I'm like, I know this is it. And this is after a whole bunch of failure and a whole bunch of trial and error and some small successes, etc. And we were a week away from the permit. World shut down. We had barely any cash in the bank because we had spent the small amount of cash that we started the company with on inventory, like raw materials, bottles, caps, things like that, to start manufacturing. And we just wanted the permit. We needed the permit.
Yeah.
I would have made it anyway. No, I'm just playing.
ChatGPT before it was.
But we needed the permit, and the government shut down. We're burning cash at it. Basically, we were 2 months from going to -0, right? And I remember when there was a week where I think we were all I misremember this sometimes, but if I'm not mistaken, there was about a week that we were all like basically locked in our home, like we couldn't even go. And they were like, don't even go outside.
Don't leave the house at all.
And that was the week I was supposed to get the permit. And I remember for 2 days, like I remember going home and just like I didn't get out of bed for 2 days. And it was at that apartment. I had an apartment on Broad Street in Hartford.
460 square feet.
460 square feet. 468. Let's not.
Let's not discount the 8.
Those 8 matter too. Those 8.
Let's not cut out those 3 kids. Let's not cut out the 8 square feet. So, so I'm lying there in my tiny bed, like staring at my stupid ceiling, and I'm just like, it's over for me. I'm gonna lose it all. Everything's come to this. This is never gonna happen for me. And somebody, God, whatever, the world is pressing on me, and it's just not gonna be me, I guess. And I cried for a day. I mean, I was probably a day where I'm just sitting there like, didn't take any phone calls. I was just on my own going, what am I going to do? And I took another day where I just didn't eat, thinking. And the third day, I woke up and went, this isn't you. You got to act. You're going to do this. And that moment the day before was probably when I was like, I replayed through that day, the second day, all of the choices, maybe not all, but many of the choices I've made through the last decade, and all the effort and the work, and I was just feeling sorry for myself, like really sorry for myself, and feeling like, and then I was angry with, how could you be so stupid? Everybody else put themselves in I'm thinking everybody, right? Everybody put themselves in a smart, better position, and they're going to be okay, and you're not, and you got to start from scratch, and you're 32 or whatever it was, right? And you're fucked. Like it's over. And that was probably the like, how the fuck, how did I end up here? Like, what did I do? That was the low of that. Yeah. And conversely, I would say the high. Was probably pretty recent. It was in the last, actually, fuck it, I'll say it was today.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
This is fucking it up a little bit. No, I'm just playing.
It's not a fucking TED Talk.
It was here. Yeah, exactly. I thought I wanted it to be.
You see no red TED Talk signs.
I feel like you guys pulled a sign out somewhere. But no, genuinely. I mean, let's say the last week, it's been immense hard work. I feel rejuvenated. We went through a lot this year, and I feel like it took a little bit to, over the last couple months, to really get the cylinders turning and create order again within the company. And recently just went through buying out a partner, which went great, and we're happy on the other side of that. But it slows down a business, a company, and so just getting things up and running and seeing, like, despite every issue, every pain that we had to go through that we didn't think we would be going through over the last year, this is our most profitable year to date so far. We've grown the company the most, and we were fighting through it. And I think the team is unbelievable, and I just felt very proud the last, what's today, Tuesday? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels like it's been, I keep saying this week, and that's because it feels like it's been a week just in the last 2 days in the best way possible. I'm like, look at all the things we were able to do.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for tomorrow and the rest of this week to feel like a month, because we're going to do that much in the next 2 days.
I was going to say, because you're in, 1,300 bars, you said, in Connecticut?
Yeah, in Connecticut, we're somewhere between, I'd say, 1,000 and 1,300 bars, somewhere in that range. I haven't looked in a little while, but
and how many states?
So that's just Connecticut.
Yeah,
we're in about 25 states across the country, and
growing.
Yeah, should be up to about 35. That's my goal by June of next year.
I travel a lot, so you're about to just get random selfies. I'm gonna be in like Montana with one of your bottles, like, look, Shyam, look, we made it. Fuck yeah!
As long as I'm not getting the, like, bubble bath, you know.
No, by the way, for the Snapchat. Don't worry.
Fruitful, great in the bubble bath. By the way, just saying.
I mean, that means
your first commercial. Your first commercial. That's what it's gonna be. Fruitful, great in a bubble bath.
Like, excellent. Take a shower.
Right?
Yeah. No, it's a whole set of challenges. Like, as you expand into all these different markets across the country, because you kind of come to realize, like, they're all so different. It's a completely different problem.
Like in each
liquor law also. We good?
That was fast.
Love that. Yeah. Liquor law in general across the country at the state level, every state has a different set of red tape and laws.
Oh yeah.
And so if you imagine, I just thought when I started years ago, naively, I'm like, oh, you make it work in one and you just multiply it across the rest, right? If it works in one, it's going to work everywhere. Stupid, right? Yeah. Culturally, every market's different. Geographically, every market's different. So just a simple to understand example is, if you're in New York and you're a salesperson in New York, where are you driving exactly?
Right.
So you got a bag full of stuff that you got to get somewhere. You got bottle, you got everything. Where you getting in a car? I don't think so. You're going to be seeing two places every day. How are you moving that product, right? How are you getting those things to people? So my job, or part of what I think about, is we produce small, I was looking and seeing if I have one.
I remember you were showing us.
We produce small 100 ml sample bottles. Yeah. And that's because I thought ahead and thought about that salesperson, and I don't want to be the guy who's saying, sell my stuff, carry all of these liter bottles. And every other company, that's what they make them do.
Yeah.
And
you're like, Oprah, you get one, you get one.
Right.
Efficiency.
For sure. And so, it's like, those are little things that when you go and see the country and see these different markets, you have to consider all of those variables. It's like, what's happening culturally here? How do they move? What's happening geographically? Like, when I go out to Arizona, I'm landing in Phoenix, I'm staying there, working that part of the market, and then I drive to Tucson for a couple of days, which is about, if I'm not mistaken, a 2.5 to 3 hour drive. If there's traffic, it's even longer. The desert's on one side, mountains are around. Shout out Justin Morales, who lived in Arizona for a while. I know you guys talked to him.
He's here.
He's on the live. So, it's like, I've never seen anything like that, right? Yeah. And so you go out there and you got to figure it out. It's like, I didn't know going out there that there's fuck all in between these two places. So I'm like, oh, that's fine. I'll drive. I'll pepper these other spots along the way. And I'm stupid and didn't look it up. And then I'm like, it's sand. Like, there's not anything here.
Getting scorpions.
Literally nothing.
You know, that's part. It's like you start unpacking that it's a totally new set of problems in every place. And so it's been really exciting and interesting to figure out how to move.
So that makes me think, right? Because you're talking about the industry as a whole, right? But then you go into these different pockets and they have different cultures, to themselves. But then you are a Indian man from, let's say, the Northeast. So how was that learning different cultures and also learning the industry, and how are you received, not received, and making an impact within the industry?
Received and perceived.
I mean, the first thing that came to mind is I am not of the industry. I'm really not. There are people who have been serving since they were 14, 15, 16. They've been bussing before that. They've worked their way up, learned the bar, learned operations.
Shout out Justin and Lex.
Yeah, exactly. He's a phenomenal example of that. I mean, and by the way, the guy's an assassin, right? He goes into these places today, and like that, the business is turned around. He's putting out incredible stuff. He has vision, and he has speed in execution. That comes from that life, is what I would say. Somebody on the outside looking in is like somebody who really worked it at every level, took risk, got up and moved, went to this place, bounced to that place, learned. You know, if you read his book, he tells that story, there. And that's who I consider the industry. That's the foundation of the industry. It's those people doing that stuff. I am not that. What I am is somebody who's really impassioned by creating, by flavor, by feeding people, by putting something in front of somebody in someone's mouth, so to speak, and watching them feel joy and love what they're tasting. And I think I'm a problem solver. I'm somebody who looks at, who the industry, so to speak, at large are these people who've cut their teeth forever. And, I want to be the person who steps in and hopefully is listening to them and trying to give tools and products and things that are solutions driven, that make their lives easier, that make it easy to have the conversation with maybe the bar or restaurant owners who sometimes can be disconnected from the very restaurants and bars they own. It's like the people that make up that bar, the industry, they get it. And sometimes there's a gap. And so oftentimes a bar manager, I'm just using that term, but has to go and have a conversation. Hey, I want to bring this in, or hey, I think we should do this. And what's the owner saying? Well, what's the bottom line, right? Like, what are the numbers here? Is it cheaper? Are they giving us free shit? Like, and that sucks for both parties, because somebody who's passionate, who's like, no, like I see that this is going to be great for us, but maybe it's a little too pricey, or maybe it's like, whatever it is, they get shot down and pressed down. So for me, it's like, if I'm going to make something, I try and look at every objection from the perspective of the industry itself, which are those people. And I ask myself, how can I make it easy for them to say yes, to get yeses, to feel great about the products, and then be able to express that very positively to their guests and their consumers. With our brand, the liqueurs we produce, all of the color that's used in it, just as one point, it's all fruit and vegetable juice, right? Shelf stable. So when you're seeing, on our website, on whatever, or out in the wild, right, a brightly colored cocktail or drink, That's fruit and vegetable juice. Everybody else is using whatever BS, all the artificial stuff.
all the dyes.
And I think people who have been in the industry, they've seen all that shit for long enough, right? They've seen all that. So to see something that's like, man, now I've been serving alcohol for 20 years. I see the culture at large changing. I see that people care about, they still want to be social. They still want to drink. They know more about product. They want great flavor, or at least they think they know what great flavor is. But I don't want to be I want to be able to, maybe brag's the wrong word, but like be proud of like, yeah, and by the way, what you're drinking is made with better ingredients, or that there's no artificial colors in that or whatever. That's how I look at it. I'm asking these people to buy into my brand and my products.
Yeah.
And if I'm not, I think a lot of people approach it by saying, well, mine's the best product because I climbed the top of a mountain and I picked this flower and I put that flower in this product. Who gives a shit? I'm sorry. That's not me.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be, those are just infinite set of stories to be told. And it's like building a product out of some story. How many fucking stories is the industry at large gonna care about?
Right.
Yeah.
At some point, they're like, yeah, we got
heard it all.
Which tree, which mountain, which hill, hole did you dig? It just doesn't matter at some point. And I think what does matter is what they're seeing every day and what they're doing every day. And the customers that they're not romanticizing about, but are actually sitting behind the bar, who walk in and go, what's the sugar content of this? Or, I try and have organic things. Like, do you have anything a little more natural? That's what people are actually talking about, right? So it's like, and those are just some things. And then on the other side, it's like their owners are coming and saying, what are the economics on this? Are these cocktails affordable? Like, some of these people, the industry, have so much skill. I mean, I had the great pleasure of meeting so many people right here in Hartford County, by the way, and all over the country, who are incredible talents. If they had their way and the finance was lifted, they would be producing unbelievable things that we could all enjoy. That's not the way the world works, though, unfortunately, and there is a bottom line. And so, it's great to make something that they can also check that box with their owners, so to speak, or the business itself. We make really high quality, really affordable. It's got to be a value for dollar thing. I want everybody to have something better. I want the place up in the corner that's just got a cooler of Budweiser and a couple bottles of vodka, and I go, here's a little, passion fruit, and now you got, and they're okay with, they're like, yeah, I can afford this. This is cool. This is, that's what I want,
So Spencer mentioned earlier that the idea was probably created before COVID, but you were created during COVID. And one thing I remember about COVID was everybody being upset that liquor stores weren't closed, right? And you could agree, disagree with whatever the reason was, right? But something is to be said about mental health and liquor consumption being tied together, right? So you obviously being in the industry, but also, like you just said, wanting the best for people. What is your kind of like opinion, your take on the two and how they're tied together?
It's a good question. I would say, with respect to COVID and what we saw then, I'm of the opinion that the inconsistencies in logic and action spanned across the board. So it's like, if you're a person who recognizes that there's a degree of irrationality in saying that this is a necessary thing and saying something else wasn't, that, arguably, for example, churches or whatever, right? There's a lot of, depending on your vantage point, there's like a lot of inconsistency through that. So I think, I'll refrain from commenting on that specific piece. I think broadly, if I'm understanding your question correctly, you're basically saying, there are evils in the consumption of alcohol, and there can be, and how do you counterbalance that with trying to lift people up and
motivation,
Intentionality.
The right motivation.
I think it's tough. I think this is an industry that, I mean, no pun intended here, but it's so fruitful. If you're committed and part of, there's so many it's like the people again. It's like they're adventurers, by and large, and there's a romance, right, in engaging with people whose stories are so diverse. I don't think I can't think off the top of my head of an industry where the diversity of stories amongst people who all have common goals or common aspirations or common skills. They're so diverse. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, I could be wrong about that, or maybe I'm just romanticizing what I do every day. But I think there's a lot of great stuff, and I think there's a risk when you fly too close to the sun, right? If anything is great. If it's really great, if it's really, really great, it's like at some point it's so great that it's not great anymme, right? Like
too much of anything.
And that's anything, right? Let's talk. I think I heard a capitalism comment earlier. Okay. $1 million, not bad. $1 billion. $1 trillion.
Disgusting.
Quadrillion, you're falling off, right?
Yeah.
On the other side, right? Because if we extrapolate that as money and the connection or ability of an individual to connect or be disconnected, right, through sheer force of will, which is what the money represents, they can impose their will, then at some point you fall off and come back down, right? But the person who's a generous 10 millionaire, who's running a company, who's cares about their community, who whatever, probably not going to criticize. I mean, I don't think we're saying sell the company and divvy the cash up amongst everyone simply because you reach that value.
Right.
It's what you do at that point. Who are you at that point? Are you worthy of being a steward of that kind of value, right?
Right.
And so, like anything, I think you could really, it's a little bit different because we're talking about a controlled substance that you're literally putting in your body, and it's viscerally impacting somebody, but I've thought about this a lot, and I think what acts on the subconscious expands far beyond, some of maybe the downside that we see in an industry like this. It's like in anything, greed, right? Corruption, like all of these things, they're everywhere. I think it's tough. I want we produce products that, well, I'll tell you this. I've been asked, can't say whom, but very large company in the space has asked me to work on a product for them. I had flown out, met with their leadership team, and they wanted me to formulate and work on a product that essentially was, think like a nip, right? And they had their own idea of what this is. And when you understand who their target consumer is, they are preying on that person in that line at 8:45 in the morning because they're sick and they're just trying to whatever
get a fix.
They're trying to get a fix, and I'm not we don't know what that person's story is,
right.
But what I will say is I'm not going to contribute to that. You're not going to catch anybody at 8:40. I wish sometimes, but I'm not going to lie. Sometimes a little bit, but you're not going to catch somebody shooting a boutique liqueur at 8:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I think it's just
off.
right. It's I feel like my dad might have done it once. Right.
Get through the day.
So I think that's probably one of the ways I like. It's I probably have, my team has the skill to create the greatest nip shot ever that's at the lowest cost. We're not going to do that because that's just not a great market to exploit. It's not a great thing to advocate for. And so,
yeah, I mean, all good things has its evils. And I think, like, overall, I mean, it's corny to say this as well, too, but, you know, with great power comes great responsibility.
That's right.
And I think, like, in this industry, there is such great power behind it. Like you mentioned, what that responsibility looks like for everyone isn't the same. You can only control, like, what your responsibility that you take in this matter. And I think, like, if you could spread positivity on something that is viewed both negatively and positive, depending on how you look at it or spin it, I think that's a superpower within itself, because you're able to show people that there's still good that can come out of this, but you're also aware that, like, yeah, some evil can come out of it too, but look at all the goodness that you can see from it, and why not promote that as well to help people.
And there's a rich, I mean, you know, the spirits, beer, wine, I mean, these are culturally driven things, historically driven things as well. You know, in the modern era, you know, there's abundance, there's the rapid sharing of information, and so many people who are interested and excited by the industry have been able to enter it at very green. This is evidenced by just in the state of Connecticut, you know, somewhere around 10, 15, I don't know how long it's been, probably about 15 years ago. You had the craft beer movement start exploding, right? You had craft beers everywhere. Where do you think they all came from? I think there's 162, and don't hold me to that, but I think it was something like that, breweries that emerged, and prior to that, there were 30, like the year before. It's some staggering number, if I'm not mistaken. Where'd they all come from? There weren't suddenly 100 experts in beer. Yeah. It's 100 people who were passionate, who now had information that maybe 20 years ago they couldn't get as easily, who, you know, were able to start up their businesses and try, right? And the reason I mention all of that is because, like, in what ended up happening, right, is many of those businesses unfortunately didn't survive, right? Or maybe the product they were putting out didn't make sense, or people didn't receive it as well. In some cases, it was bad, right? Like, it just wasn't good.
Flat out.
Yeah. And so, you know, when you think about that, it's like, it's also important to remember, I think, the other side of the coin, which is like, what was happening 100 years ago? What was happening 200 years ago, 500 years ago, whatever. Much of this is like, there's a story to all of these things that exist today. That's in food culture and across the board, right? In garments and design. So I think that's another way to kind of, I think people need to treat, you know, these, I suppose, like, privileges that we have, you know, in having access to something like alcohol, which helps us have a great time, right? Mm-hmm. And engage one another, right? And whatever. And also has incredible flavors, and you know, they got to think about where that stuff came from,
right?
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, you know, sometimes I think that's not so much in the vernacular or in the ethos, and so you got a lot of young people just trying to get fucked up early on, and and one of them, you know. And you lose that piece of, like, why does this exist, right? You know?
And it's interesting because, like, so the legal drinking age in the U.S. is 21, right?
That's right.
In the U.K., it's 18.
That's right.
In most of Europe. In the Caribbean, it's if you can see above the bar, you're getting a drink. So 10, right? So, but I noticed in all my travels,
I know where this
everyone's
is going.
getting fucked up, but it's Americans that are kind of like
over the top.
Exactly. And it's because oh, well, we're going to make you wait till 21, but you've been doing it wrong. Whereas in other places, you're, for lack of better terms, like you're saying, learning to appreciate and really understand what you're consuming and how to.
There's the education.
Right. You know, like, don't just go out there and go to college for the first time at 17 and go to your first frat party, drink the jungle juice, and end up with socks on your head as underwear, right? Like,
you're saying I should not do that.
Right.
Okay. Got it. I'm sorry.
You know, so but a lot of the times that's the difference between the drinking culture in America versus drinking culture
anywhere else.
Literally everywhere else.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you're spot on. I mean, it's...
Wait, hold on real quick. Just this. Good to go.
Good to go. You're spot on. I mean, it's a simple. So, a really, I guess, a way I would echo your point is, you know, when I was younger, probably again 24, 25, I remember being in some fancy ritzy package store, and they had wine. And the wine was called, I think it was Italian wine, and it was called table wine. And table wine, and don't hold me to this, everyone out there, but ostensibly table wine is to be drank at the table, right, with dinner. And the ABV, the alcohol by volume, was very low on the table. I think it was like, I don't know, 4%, 4.5%.
Oh, wow.
It was like drank, right? It like wasn't what I knew to be wine.
Yeah.
And at that time, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I got to try this. And I picked up a couple different ones, and I cook a lot, and I'm like, you know, just trying to taste it and go, oh, okay. I like cooking for other people. I was like, let me come up with something to pair with this wine. Really, though, in hindsight and just thinking about it along the way, it's like, well, why does that exist? Well, you know, historically, again, people... their fermentation process is the thing that produces the alcohol, the higher alcohol, and the various processes to produce wines and spirits, etc. They weren't refined in the same way that they are now, speaking very broadly. And you know, those were the wines that they were drinking, and they were a passive thing that was being consumed, and it was part of the cultures. And you know, sometimes it was in lieu of water because water was contaminated, and so they needed to produce beer and wines to make it safe to consume, low alcohol. So it's like all of this and I'm by no means am I the historian. Also, I'm a product guy. There's people who could sit here and tell you the history of alcohol from day one to
the Romans were
right.
Like,
no, honestly, and it's fascinating, genuinely. But I think, you know, it's like those things exist because they came from somewhere. They came from a cultural habit. And we in the U.S., you know, maybe we skipped ahead a little bit too far and just went straight to 190 proof, like, you know, high proof spirits, like, made in the basement. And it's like, I don't know. But,
so,
yeah.
I've got one more question before we wrap up. And and you are the actual, quite literal scientist sitting here.
Please don't put me in that spot.
So, the age-old question, is it true, does a drunk mind speak a sober heart? You've never heard that before?
I have, but like, what is a scientist being able to...
No.
Yeah, I was
Perfect.
You said, like, I got you.
I got it.
I will tell you from a formula to a...
Because I'd have said some shit.
No.
Ooh. I did not see that coming.
So do you believe then, because they always say like a drunken man tells no tales, that is that truly them just themselves saying what they
like
really
the liquid
wanted
courage?
to say?
Well, let's
not even liquid courage, just hiding behind being inebriated, but it's like
if I may,
passive
let me
aggressive.
loop it back around. There you go. Let's loop it back.
Intoxicated passive aggression.
Let's loop it back around. You said, does a drunk mind speak a sober heart? So a sober heart, right? Sober heart, if you're sober, let's say you're actually, so push the drunk mind out. Sober heart, sober mind. Now, those people are either direct or they're passive aggressive.
Yep.
Right? Or,
See how we tied that all together?
right? So, to me, a sober heart, a sober mind that speaks their mind and speaks their heart is the best way to go. I think a drunk
Mic
mind
drop.
sometimes speaks a sober heart, and I think what you want to do is, I think what you learn, and at least I'll speak for myself. When I was younger, again, I'm talking about last year. No, I'm just playing. And you have some drinks. Obviously, you're getting on with people around you, and you're taking some risks that you wouldn't take in communication, and you're saying things that you wouldn't normally say.
Yeah, I'm a little more comfortable.
Guilty.
But right, and me too. Trust me too. But I think the next day in reflection, when you're like, "Fuck, I shouldn't have said," or "Man, I can't. I'm glad I said that, man. It worked out." Right, whatever it is. You want to grow from that. Like, those are the great experiences. You want to grow from that, so you go, "Oh, I can say that." Right? Not, I need to be drunk to say that. Right? Like, and that's where you want to go. And so I think,
Love that, learning from the drunk self.
That's
right.
You don't really
The
need
drunken
that
monkey,
drunken
like-
courage.
the stupid version of you could say that, and then the next day you go, "That was truth." Well, why can't the smart version and that's where you got to go. So you kind of like, it's a way for me, again, of finding that, figuring that out when I was younger.
You don't need
Today, I
that
don't
liquid
need
courage.
that.
Just say it with your chest.
Right.
But what is it about alcohol that makes someone
Feel
free,
come
confident?
up.
And obviously, like, yes, you're taking the edge off, blah, blah,
Sure,
blah, blah.
sure.
You know what I mean? But, like, why am I now this outgoing, free-speaking,
I think 'cause, like, the
inebriation.
Yeah, but it's just that. It's like the alcohol. I mean, anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm like, the way I learned it in psychology class was just like, the alcohol will block those like parts of your brain that's like always constantly on alert to tell you to be like,
don't do it, don't
do this, or don't say that, or don't act this way, or like somebody's looking at me, so it's like I can't do this or that. Whereas now, like, if you're less guarded, then you're going to be more comfortable to like do something that you really want to do, i.e. say the things you want to say, act the way you really want to act.
Valid.
So it's like the liquid courage, I think it's all psychologically what you want to tell yourself to convince yourself what you want to do versus what you need to do. But it's like
Versus what you should do.
right, what you should do. But everybody should just say it with your chest. You don't need the drink unless you like good flavors.
This reminds me of Harry Potter and Ronald Weasley and how Harry finessed him, thinking that he took the
liquid courage.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait. Pull me into this here.
You don't remember that scene?
Wait. Ron finessed Harry to drink.
No, Harry finessed Ron.
Oh, Harry finessed.
Yeah, when Harry
The
won-
liquid
And
liquid
it wasn't real. And then Ron went and
yeah, he had the
He
best
got
game
him
of
a
his life.
shorty. The Quidditch man.
Talk that talk.
Right.
Swag.
He was a man.
Well, is that not the ultimate exemplification?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
He didn't fucking need it. He just had to believe it. Right?
Exactly.
And so that's
Get you a Harry Potter in your life. That's
what I would say is
Much.
get Harry Potter. That's what the whole basis of my philosophy. Harry Potter.
well, shit, man. We've been chopping it up for a while now. Great conversation.
Yes.
This was fun, no doubt. As we finish, we always do our 15 seconds of fame. So we'll start with Spencer. You could plug the brand. Shout out your wife, because we've clearly, gotta hit her up.
He's a
He's a good guy.
He's a good man. You gotta see it too. No. So who would believe if you said
I too.
But yeah, 15 seconds of fame, and then
I don't know.
Never.
then we'll get up out of here.
Dope. This was a great episode, great place, great product. If you haven't tried it yet, and if you see it in a bar, dabble. And I guess the worst thing you could do is not try it, not like it. Like, for all you people who are still drinking cranberry vodkas, there's nothing you can do that's going to be any better. You know what I'm saying? So any worse. So,
Dragged.
but yeah, no, this was great. I think one of the things that stuck out to me in this conversation was the 3 days, right? So the 2 days, kind of not having a pity party, but, feeling bad for yourself, like kind of reflecting and like, damn, is this really for me? And then the third day, getting up, right? So I think it's very important to not let emotions get in the way of your assignment. Like make sure that whatever it is that your calling is to do, you just stick to it. Give yourself a day or two, regroup, reflect, but get back up and get after it.
Facts. Only 48 hours. You got 2 business days.
Facts.
That's it, for sure.
And that's it. 15 seconds.
Oh, wow.
It can be longer than 15 seconds.
Shit.
No. I mean, first of all, thank you guys, man. This is amazing. I've had the pleasure of hearing some of your stories. I love it. You guys are total professionals, total pros. And,
Appreciate it.
I can see the work you guys have put in, and I'm excited to see where you guys go, and I hope to be part of that journey in the future.
For sure.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So thank you. And Fruitful Mixology, look out for it. We just launched an espresso liqueur.
Ooh.
It's amazing.
I'll buy espresso martini.
It's phenomenal. It's a 2-step product. You just add the espresso liqueur, the espresso, everything's built into it. You add your spirit, you give it a hard shake, you pour, and you get that nice crema right there. It's a 100% natural product, first of its kind. And we're super excited about that. And we're just getting that out right now. You can find it at all of the wooden taps. You can find it throughout any espresso martini at Mohegan Sun. Well, most of them. Tomorrow, I'll make sure Foxwoods we get in line. Hopefully,
Hey.
Nice.
and
Big
they buy in.
moves.
And we're growing that. Shout out to the New York Mets, the Minnesota Vikings, the Atlanta Braves.
His 15 seconds is up, y'all.
All these teams that gave us. I need 35 seconds.
Listen,
Also,
keep talking your shit.
all these organizations gave us a shot, and our products are throughout them, and it's
dope.
tremendous for a small company to walk in there and,
That's
they see
awesome.
the value, and it's been amazing. And for my co-packs and all my favorite people here, products we produce. Winmore, we had mentioned that earlier. That's my guy, Justin Morales. He's the owner of Up and Down. You guys
Yeah.
talked to him, right?
Yeah.
Amazing product, amazing guy. And he's got some RTDs launching right now.
Nice.
Some ready to drinks. And you're going to see those in the market. Brand's called Winmore. Green can, Hoppin' Rabbit on it. Look out for that. Drink Mechanics, that's another brand. Canned RTDs, phenomenal. Yeah.
I like it.
Dope.
I'm excited. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled.
One more, sorry. Look out for Blue Law Bourbon. Blue Law Bourbon.
You know I'm gonna be on the look for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that just sounds
produced, just launched. The juice is incredible. Really great entrepreneur, young man, age of 24. His father has done a lot of stuff in the industry, but he's really paved his own way. And he's working with us, and the bourbon's incredible, and that's moving out right now as well.
Nice.
Amazing. So my 15 seconds of fame, big thank you to you, Shyam, for just opening up your space to us,
Sure.
educating us about your journey, about how you got here. And overall, I think the resounding message that I got from your story today was to never settle. I think in life has its own path sometimes, and it can go against the grain of what you want to do, but you got to take your wins and take your losses, and you just keep moving forward, and don't settle on yourself. Don't settle on the people that are riding out with you and making your dream happen. But overall, you just got to go and get it.
Yeah. All right. My turn, I guess. Thank you guys all for being here. Ash, Spencer, we say it every week that where we are now was not possible without you guys, and wherever we are going, we're going together. So thank you guys for, one, keeping me straight, but coming with me on this journey and pushing this shit forward to wherever success we're gonna go. Fruitful Mixology. This shit was dope. I'm excited to see where you continue to go, and also, you know, how we collab and everything. But just not even that, just opening your doors for us to even be here. Kind of like Ash was saying,
of course.
When we first started, I didn't see all this, or maybe I saw it, but now actually experiencing it, it's great. And my 15 seconds is, you know, we're coming up on the end of the year. We've got less than 60 days. So just take some time to reflect on what 2025 has been, the good, the bad, the ugly. Everybody knows that I'm a super fast-paced person, but learn to slow down and reflect on everything that has happened and how you guys can continue to grow, continue to find happiness, continue to find strength. And with that being said, this is the best fucking podcast in CT. We're here to take over. Fruitful Mixology as well, and that's a motherfucking wrap.
Yes, sir.